Hi everyone! In today's video we are going to talk about intimacy and more specifically whether or not you have a fear of intimacy. So this video is for you if you want to know if you or your partner has some fear around intimacy. It's going to help you figure out the signs. I am Céline Remy, the Intimacy Angel.
And I'm Kevin Anthony, the Truth Warrior. And if you've ever felt that your partner may not be as into the relationship as you are, then make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Alright, let's start with our signs. We have 5 different signs to help you figure out what's going on and whether or not your partner is really feeling uncomfortable with intimacy. So number 1 is if the person does a lot of what we call serial dating, and kind of has a fear of commitment. That's a big red flag. When you go from one person to another, to another, to another, and when it comes time to commit to something maybe a little bit deeper, that's when you or that other person runs away.
So serial dating can be a strategy for those that do have a fear of commitment, because they don't hang around long enough to actually have any sort of deep commitment or intimacy. So if you're in the dating world and you meet somebody, and you're asking questions and learning about their past dating history, if you see that they keep going from one relationship to another, to another, to another, to another, that could potentially be a sign that they have a fear of intimacy.
Sign number 2 is perfectionism. Maybe the person is always trying to make everything perfect, is micromanaging everything because they want to have control, and without the control they feel absolutely lost. And that's a way, by controlling everything, that they can prevent how deep or how much intimacy is happening in the relationship.
There's also another form of perfectionism, and that is always ruling out potential partners because they're not perfect enough. If you're as old as I am and you remember watching the TV series Seinfeld, this was the story of almost every episode. There was always just something a little off, a little wrong that was like, nope, 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 can't do it, can't do it. So that idea of always seeking absolute perfection in every partner, and that's the reason why you're not sticking around, that could also be a sign that you have a fear of intimacy.
Ooh, that's a big one. Number 3 is difficulty expressing needs, and that would show up more once you've already established your relationship and the person may not be willing to share what's going on, what they need, what they want, and without doing that you're not able to create the depth of intimacy that comes from being able to be vulnerable and opening up with somebody else.
Yeah, and the next one on the list is sabotaging your relationship. This one is huge, huge, huge. We see this so often when working with clients. Have you ever noticed that in some relationships, just when things were going really, really well, all of a sudden something happened that messed everything up and took you to the point of almost breaking up, or potentially you did break up? This idea of always, when things get going too good, finding a way to sabotage it and destroy it is a definite sign that somebody has fear of intimacy. And
sabotage can also show up as self-sabotage, right? Not just in the relationship, but yourself. And I've known people where, like Kevin was saying, where things was going well in their relationship and then, oh, they get into an accident, oh, they forget to pay their bills, oh, they have all of these stressors, all of these things that happen to them, right? Which is a form of staying into this low vibration of being in drama and being in stress, because when you're stressed out, it's very difficult to relax and connect with somebody, and connect with yourself too. When you're always anxious, you can't settle and enjoy. So it's important to notice those patterns, and they can be a little bit subtle, and you might think, well, it's not my fault if I got in an accident or forgot to pay my bills or had all of these things happen to me. It's time to ask yourself, do you see a pattern there? Is there something that's happening over and over where you're like, wow, that's true. Every time something is just feeling too good, I pull away or make something happen. And we have like something that I call the pleasure ceiling, where a lot of people have a place where they're like, this is how good it can feel in life. And this is this glass ceiling, and they're so afraid to go further and past it. And so they'd rather sabotage or do something so that they stay below the threshold in what's comfortable, rather than embrace the goodness, the pleasure, and the joy of life in the relationship.
And the last one on the list is difficulties with physical contact. So if you've ever noticed somebody, once it started to get really serious in the physical department, they kind of check out, or they go, oh, no, I can't go there. Those are also signs. Physical contact, when we're talking about sex or any type of sexual contact or relation, is one of the most intimate things that you can do with another human being. And that triggers some people when they have fear of intimacy. And so they have a very difficult time going there. They have difficulty engaging in sexual contact or potentially even starting it.
Yeah. Remember too that for most, these reactions happen when the relationship matters. It's not so much something that happens for like casual relationships. So if you are in a relationship with somebody who's more avoidant or anxious or any of these different signs that we've just described, don't take it personally. A lot of these behaviors are ingrained from what happened in their childhood and how their parents parented them. And so it takes a lot of personal work and a lot of like healing and self-awareness to change things. Now, know that it is totally possible to get out of these patterns and out of these behavior. But in order to change them, you need to be aware of them. So understand that when this happens, usually the person really likes you. So that's a good sign. Now also remember that in a relationship, you are a team. And if this person really matters to you, then it's important that the two of you work together. And if it's you, it's important that you communicate. And this is really the first step that we will give you as a solution to start to move past these, is to start to communicate and acknowledge the places where you may fall short, the places where you are so scared, and it's time to start to talk about what you need and make requests and be creative in creating the relationship that you truly want deep down, even though you are so afraid of it.
And while it may be easier to see these patterns in your other partner, it's actually easier to fix them within yourself. And everything's an inside job. So it's important to be able to recognize these things in somebody else, but it's even more important that you recognize them within yourself, because most likely if your relationship is struggling, there's something in there for you to look at.
So don't shy away from the deep inner work. Look at it and trust us. It's worth doing the work to have this really thriving, passionate, amazing relationship that you know you can have. Alright, we hope today's video was helpful and inspiring. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video. I want to thank Onnit for sponsoring today's video. Now, do you know why you feel hornier in the summer months rather than the winter months? No, it's not because you're showing more skin. Well, it does help. It's because of the vitamin D, because you spend more time outside and in the sun. Now, as many as 75% of people in the US are deficient in vitamin D. And vitamin D is one of these essential vitamins. It's the sexiest vitamin alive. It helps with your sex hormones, with your mood. So one way that I found works really well for me is to take it into a spray form, because it's convenient and simple. All I have to do is 5 sprays under my tongue every day, and I've got my daily dose, and it works well. I'm set to go. If you want to boost your vitamin D levels easily and effortlessly, get your Onnit spray. Go to onnit.com and use Love Lab at the checkout to get 10% off your order, or click on the links below in the description. You won't regret it.